What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Awake and Sober Podcast, a podcast about life and recovery through Christ. Today's topic brought to us by the one and only Mr. D.
Yes.
Derek, what is the topic today?
We will be discussing relapse prevention.
Okay.
I think it's a very powerful thing that we need to definitely focus on, share with others so that other people will be able to help their person in their lives prevent relapse.
It sounded like a big...
I was going to say, did everybody get that?
It was a mouthful.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, that's a familiar voice. Who's that?
I don't know. Some guy that you found outside wandering around.
Yeah, we picked him up. We got him here today. Shane's back with us.
Yeah, hello.
How's
Missed
your
you
week?
guys last week.
We missed you too. How was your week since we haven't seen you in like forever?
It was pretty eventful. Yeah, every once in a while we get a call and we get to go out with the task force. And so we got to go with the task force last weekend. Or then that's why we weren't here. We hung out with them until, I think it was 6 o'clock in the morning, but 6, 7 something. It was ridiculous. It was early by the time I got home. And I'm too old to stay up that late. I am too old. Jeremy, how have you been, my brother?
Oh, pretty good, actually.
Pretty good.
What are you shaking your head for? I had to pop a couple medications today. No, it's all good.
Hey, that's okay. Honesty.
As long as they're prescribed,
They
it's
are
good.
They are prescribed. I wasn't
right.
taking anything that wasn't prescribed, for sure.
Well, just the way you said it, I had to pop a couple medications today. Hey, I went and raided a cabinet real quick. Relapse prevention, Jeremy. Relapse prevention.
Yes.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Well, that was it. That's all you had for the week?
Well, yeah.
It was
that's all.
good?
Yeah, it was
Pill
good.
popping for the week.
Yeah. Pill popping for the That was good. Kids don't start sports until full blast until this week. So we've had the last couple weeks off. So it's kind of been relaxing, heading into the fall sports season. So,
Ooh. Fun.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Remember, you get to go to those events.
Yep, that's what they say.
Yeah. No.
I get to sit there with a bunch of angry parents. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually,
and drunk.
I will say that both the teams he's on, or the team that Regan's on and the team that Conley's on, it's not really like that. Not this team, at least.
Good.
So, all right, and back joining us is...
Yes, I am here again this week. They let me come back. They were kind of threatening to take my mic away, and I was kind of worried a little bit.
We still haven't given him the camera.
I still haven't gotten the camera yet, which is okay because remember I have that face for radio.
Yeah.
Great voice, though. Great voice.
You did sound kind of cute when I was producing it for you guys.
I do
appreciate
try.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He sounds cute.
I didn't turn on that Barry White. How are you doing?
So,
No.
Steve, you want to talk about the little mouse in your pocket over there? Who's
I've got my nephew here, Jonathan, came with us and is kind of working with us to get us moving this sound a little bit more professional, hopefully. And we're going to see where it goes from there. Hopefully we can get a little better stuff going on this week. We've got some new equipment we're trying out, and we're going to see where that goes.
nice?
You know, when the old guys can't figure out how to do it, we go find
We call the young
we go
ones.
find the young ones that, you know.
He's got an Xbox controller for his daggum phone. He's walking around with that. So.
Hey, power to him, man. Hey,
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my wife is going to be happy if I don't have to spend 15 hours a week trying to throw computers.
This is good. Hopefully we're streamlining stuff.
And making your wife is a very important happy is a very important thing.
Making your wife?
Yeah.
Making your wife happy is a very
making your wife
important thing.
happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or just making her life joyful. That's always a plus.
Yes.
Joyful, I'll go for. Happy, trust me, that's gone in 2 seconds. Love you, babe.
So as we got a new guy working the sound this week, you guys, we're on every podcast platform out there. We're on the YouTube. Let us know what you think of our sound this week. All right, we look forward to hearing from you.
We're on the YouTube,
We're on the YouTube.
whatever that means.
And there was a video on Apple iPods. I did not realize Apple did that, but when I went to listen to our podcast last week on the Apple Pod, it was video.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're moving up in the world.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Even
right.
for bad production from old men, we're moving up.
Hey.
That's what I heard Steve say.
That's exactly what he said.
That's what I heard.
All right.
Relapse prevention.
Yes, let's do it.
What is relapse prevention?
Well, relapse is deterioration of someone who has gone through a temporary fix, I guess
Temporary improvement,
that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, temporary improvement.
not fix.
You really, because I thought about that after I said it. It's not the word we want to use on this podcast.
You don't want to pop pills either.
No.
Yeah, Jeremy just started us off on
The first 5 minutes
weird
have been
side.
fantastic so far.
Yeah, I was wondering, we were talking before we started. He's like, I'm going to save that for later.
Is that what you were going to say?
No, I don't know. I don't even remember.
It's okay. It all comes out later. No, it will be left in. It'll be a short.
And prevention being the process or steps of stopping something from happening.
The process.
Yes, I love that word.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
I do.
Such a bad word. It's such a bad word.
What is the definition of process?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
A series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end.
There we go.
Somebody's listening to this like, deja vu. Haven't they talked about that before?
Always.
Always a process.
There's a reason why. Obviously, there's a reason why we wouldn't keep bringing it up.
Yeah, everything's a process.
Right.
If we're searching for healing, that healing.
We're actually in a process of bringing up process on a regular process basis.
Relapse prevention. It's the prevention. It's to stop a relapse from happening. Correct.
Right. Yes.
Yes. So that means somebody's been sober for a period of time.
Yeah, hopefully
Right,
for a period of time. I mean,
so, yeah.
otherwise
And
you can't relapse.
They sober for a period of time, and then they fall back to whatever it was they were doing.
What's the difference between a lapse and a relapse? Is there a difference? Do you just relapse?
yeah, you just relapse.
You just relapse?
I mean, if you want to make up things, that's cool.
No, I don't. No, but some people say that.
I know.
I just had a lapse in judgment, and I just drank one night.
Yeah, you relapsed.
Correct.
So now go recommit, grab your keychain or your coin or whatever it is, and start working the program.
Your chip.
I mean, no matter what, you could call it a learning experience, as long as you learn something from it. And so you could call it whatever you need to make yourself feel better. But at the end of the day, it's a relapse, and it's okay. Just go recommit.
I called it research. I just went back out and researched a few times.
You didn't search a few times?
I didn't search. I researched.
I usually say I don't like to research,
and
but
I
do.
relapse. You don't search. I'm not searching for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're not searching, you found it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
unfortunately. Yeah, you can find those things easy.
I think it's important to identify triggers.
Yes.
I mean, that's we kind of want to hit on those today, both emotional and physical, and
Right. And it's not just for the addict themselves, but it's for those of the family members and that, because we're all about the whole family here. So it's about the family members being able to recognize these different triggers and that they're seeing happening with their family, their individual, whatever you want to call them.
Family members,
Family members, yeah.
loved ones.
Loved ones. I like
That's
loved
what I
ones.
like. Yeah, the loved ones, because it doesn't take blood to be families nowadays.
Nowadays, it's always been that way.
It's-
Everybody's always hated their family and loved their friends much more.
True story.
I know we talk about this often, but when do we actually relapse? Is it when we physically take the pill, take the drugs, take the alcohol, or do we relapse before that?
Before.
That was just a short, sweet answer before.
Yeah, I know. I want to know why. It's like I'm talking to my clients. Well, because no, tell me why.
It's I call it the term prelapse, and I've heard it said that way before. And it's the thoughts in our head that we've already planned out how we're going to do it. Just as we were talking about the plans and stuff in the last podcast about suicidal ideations, it's the same thing with the relapse. So and so is going to be gone tomorrow. I can get to the gas station, grab me a couple, whatever, get back home before anybody else gets back, get them gone. Nobody will even know.
Yeah, and I mean, they could start that plan 2 months ahead of time.
Exactly. As soon as they find out people ain't going to be at the house,
They start romanticizing
Yeah.
their past. And then you could just see them going downhill. Those meetings suck. My sponsor sucks. Everything sucks.
It's a negative mindset.
Says, we mentally relapse days, weeks, even months before physically using. Yeah. So that's one of the things we're going to point out is, the mental relapse that we see in people before it even gets to that point.
I'm talking to Steve and Derek here. Have you guys relapsed before?
Absolutely.
Not in the last 5 years.
But I mean, leading up to your sober time.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, when you're talking about the prelapse, I mean, I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like going, yeah, I can picture where I've done that. I mean, the ritual of, your use and it starts going through your head. And I was talking to, in one of the meetings I was at, something that really stuck in my head that one of the biggest things to do is you have to reach out before you start that ritual. Whatever that ritual is, it's never too late, but once you start that ritual as an addict, it's really hard to pull it back, to reach out. Once if you relapse before you relapse, absolutely. Once you start that ritual, you've started that relapse. Your time not that you can't, but most people won't reach out once they've started that. Anything different for you, Derek?
I'm going back to that prelapse thing that we were just talking about, months and stuff ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, in the work that I do, I hear these clients saying the exact same things that I said many times before when I relapsed. Oh, if I just smoke weed, everything will be okay, and I can just move on forward. Let me know how that works for you, all right? Because I'm telling you, it's only going to be a matter of time before that's not going to be enough. And I speak from experience. Or thinking I had this on my own. I don't need nobody. I don't need to go to no meetings. I don't need God on this whole situation. I got this, and I relapse.
Yeah, why work steps? Why work with your sponsor? I mean,
yeah, why?
Yeah, why not call them until you hit a brick wall and things are never good and it's doom and gloom. I don't know anyone that ever's done that ever.
No.
Did you have it in your mind that you were gonna use again someday?
No.
So when you got sober, before the relapse, you told yourself, "I'm never going to use it again."
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt. It was, and I've done multiple things in my time. This here and this and there. Whatever it was. And when I decided I was getting off of that, I was not going to go back to it. And unfortunately, multiple times I did. Multiple times.
Cool.
Yeah, you know those ones that didn't ever want to stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Those are easy to spot. Easy to spot.
And the thing was, I brought up the using the weed or whatever type thing, but really it was just a whole my mental mind frame of I got this on my own, not needing nothing else. Like you said, I didn't need to work the steps. I didn't need to have a sponsor. Don't need to go to meetings. They just bore me anyways. I don't know why I'm going in the first place, but it led to me prelapsing to the point of relapse. And one of my biggest triggers in my relapse has always been Bathsheba. I always fall for the Bathsheba because they want to be doing something. I'm like, no, if you're going to be with me, you can't do it. Try to control the situation, as we were discussing last week, and codependency to the point they're either going to leave me or go do it, and they decide they're going to go do it, and I'm so caught up on it, it's like, well, I'll do it with you.
Relationships and money.
That's
That's why he said Bathsheba.
Bathsheba. Yeah, we brought that up before.
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
It has. That's why I brought it back.
Those things that ruin it quick.
Mm-hmm. What are signs that family can look for in their loved ones? Before we're let's talk about the loved ones before we talk about the addict themselves.
Okay, poor self-care. When the addict's not taking good care of themselves, and not, especially if you know the individual and he has a tendency of taking care of himself, and all of a sudden he's not doing it. It's just a moment of prelapse before it actually comes to happen. And I say that because I felt that way just over a year ago. It had been, more than a year ago, and creeping up to it, and people were just like, dude, before anything goes any further, we need to check the situation and what's really going on with you here. Are you truly working your recovery? Is that why you looked at me like that?
No, I was just looking at you to look. I would say change in attitude. another one.
Yeah.
Because that happens quickly. Isolation. You'll see them missing meetings more often.
Let's be honest, a lot of times the addict does not see these changes coming up. He does not see the fact that he's got the poor self-care. He's just going about his day. The attitude changed. A lot of times they don't see that coming. They don't even realize they do something when they do it because they just
It's
don't
the old
recognize
mindset.
it. Right.
That old mindset's creeping back in.
Yeah.
One of the worst things that I've learned is just being around recovery is that when you see that happening, it's just like you can't stop it. You know, you can't be codependent and fix it, and you just watch people just, you know, go down, and you can just see it a mile away.
Yeah, but you can. Here's the thing.
Yeah, you can do
speak
things.
up.
Yeah, you can
Don't
do
sit there and
things.
be quiet. It's not codependent to speak up. It's smart to speak up.
It's
Speak
caring.
up. Yeah. Smack them in the back of the head with a God-sized 2x4 and let them know.
A God-sized 2x4.
It's all right.
Shaped like a cross.
I've been hit with it a lot in my lifetime.
What about isolation? It's another thing to watch out for.
Shane just touched on that a little bit.
I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I noticed.
It's hard to hear with these big things on your ears, huh?
I would say another thing to look for is you start seeing honesty going away. Things just aren't adding up. The stories aren't matching. That's normally a pretty good sign that something's probably not right. I know with me it always has been.
I don't know. Thank you for bringing that up. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, when we're in our active addiction, keeping up with the lies is exhausting.
Yes.
It is so exhausting.
Oh, man.
And it's so much easier just to tell the truth. Is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, and I did a lot of that at the end anyway. I got tired of lying to everybody, so I just told them the truth. They just didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm getting high.
Plain and simple, right?
Yeah, it was a mess. But at least it was an honest mess, right?
Yeah, you're working on this program.
Oh, no, I wasn't working a program. I had never been in recovery before.
I just say program. I didn't say what kind of program.
What are some unwanted emotions?
Hunger,
Hungry,
anger, lazy,
lonely,
Shame.
tired. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Hunger, awake.
Anyway,
So you were busting out some halt.
Yes.
yes, the halt. Unwanted emotions.
Never let yourself get too hungry. Never let yourself get too angry. Never let yourself get too lonely. Never let yourself get too tired.
But isn't loneliness a state of mind?
Is it?
That's a debate we could have and have fun with, but
Next week's podcast, come in and check out the difference between being lonely and actual loneliness, or being alone.
No,
and
man, that's-
loneliness.
I'd rather have a debate night for that.
Yeah, I like that. Debate night.
But yeah, I mean, look, I know if I could feed my wife and I have her take naps and sleep good, everybody's life is beautiful. So halt. I mean, I know the hungry and the tired works well if you keep that fed and done right. Mm-hmm. I don't know about the rest of them.
Sorry.
What's up, giggles? Jeez, oh Pete.
I haven't heard it much this week.
I know.
I got my giggles. I am not afraid.
Yeah.
What
I'm sitting over here on 3 hours sleep going, man, you got that right.
What are the warning signs of mental relapse?
Warning signs of mental relapse. Well, like we were sharing, the lying.
Mm-hmm.
The individual starts lying a lot more, not being honest about things, and so there's part of it. Falling into old habits. Thoughts of people and places, thinking of people of our past, places that we did in our past, things, places we used to go, and that those start coming to mind a lot more.
Mm.
And being prideful about it.
Being prideful.
Pride never hurt anything.
Sid.
Shane just looked away.
I was looking at it when anything coming.
Hey, Shane, just remember that sarcasm is a spiritual gift.
Yes, I got a pen that says that, but you scared me.
Pride is a common theme through this.
Yeah, it's
Yes. Without a doubt. There's another mental relapse sign that shows hanging out with old friends, old using buddies.
Mm.
And I've realized that was a lot of times when I've called an old buddy up that I know I used before, even if he was a friend before we had used together. It was still, if I called him up and said, "What's up?" before, within a week we were using again together.
And a lot of times it's not even hanging out with them. It's hanging out with them before you hang out with them.
Yeah.
Talking, telling stories.
See, I didn't have it. Everybody pushed. I mean, I pushed everybody. Everybody pushed me away. Nobody wanted to be around me, so I was the isolated individual, and I drank alone. I tried to hide it. You know, I didn't have friends.
So you hid it from yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah. I tried to. I tried to hide my alcohol from myself.
He said
how'd that work for you?
He said he was alone, and then he tried to hide it. And I'm like, so you were hiding from yourself? It worked out well.
Yeah.
He hid his alcohol from
I still haven't found myself. No.
I'm going to write a book on that one.
A lot of people do find it later because they hid it so well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just have to pull this story up, and I'm sure my dad won't listen to this, so I can tell the story. A couple years ago, he was in the hospital, came through a rehab, and physical rehab, not treatment. And we had his bathroom remodeled because he's getting older, and he wanted to be able to remain in his house longer. And so we had the doors widened, whatever. And I had some guys I'd been at a step study with. One of them owned a construction company, and he did the work. And he calls me. I get this call one day, and I'm like, hey, I really don't know what to do. We were like doing some duct work, and we reached down and we found a bottle of gin. I was like, you realize that bottle of gin is probably about 45 years old?
Yeah, it happens. Good old dad in the ductwork.
Aged.
Dad, hopefully you're not tipping them back today.
No.
So, on relapse prevention, then, what are
Yes.
some things that we could do to prevent? Or did you have other questions, Jeremy? Since
No, I'm just throwing stuff
We want to
out.
also recognize the emotional relapse part of things too. You know, being able to identify those, you know, with the anger moods and mood swings, individual being overly defensive. These are all different things that you want to look towards when you see, you know, acting a certain way, what's going on. Bad eating habits. I never really thought of that as a warning sign, but really, come to think about it,
it depends what drug.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, it could be eating more or eating a lot less, depending on what drug. So,
or what you're eating. You know, when you're a good sober mind, you think of proper stuff to eat a lot of times, so you're not. The majority of us, anyways.
I just like food.
Yeah, but I'm saying the majority of us, anyways, like to find something that's a little more healthier for us at times, as opposed to when we're using, no matter what it is, we're stopping off at McDonald's and getting a greasy burger over and over and over throughout the day.
You just had a cheeseburger. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, I'm not a McDonald's fan.
You know, me neither. But
So,
point being,
and I think it's important for families to know what to look for. I mean, we went through a lot of those. So, I mean, any other triggers to take a look for that we didn't maybe cover? I can't really think of any, but I'm sure there are.
I'm quite sure. It's really when a person's whole, like you said, the whole attitude shift, the way they conducted themselves, both in personal care, in or out of public, not being around people. You start seeing those whole attitude change, and that's a good thing to look for when it comes to helping somebody prevent their relapse.
So, what does somebody have to do to prevent their relapse? We're talking about the warning signs of family, right? Which kind of goes hand in hand with the actual addict themselves, right? The sick person. Mm-hmm. So, what do they have to put into plan or into place to prevent this from happening?
A recovery prevention plan. I mean, look.
But what does it entail, Terry?
RPP.
You down with OPP? You down with RPP?
And one of the
Boundaries. Boundaries is a big thing in a relapse prevention plan. There's got to be boundaries, not just suggestions, but actual boundaries with consequences. I really feel that's a big thing for a relapse prevention plan. Meetings. Another thing for relapse prevention plans.
Is relapse prevention plans a one size fits all? Like, here you go, I'm going to hand you this wonderful sheet.
No.
And here's your plan?
No. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. It's like you can't just go to the corner store and grab one because it's the same size fits all. But, yeah, you know, you got to build a plan to fit the individual.
So if you were to build one for somebody, how would you build it? What would it look like? I think that's what Jeremy was trying to get to.
Exactly.
Is that what you're getting to? Okay, so this is the deal. You're in my house. Say I'm let someone staying that's working a program. All right, you got to go to meetings. You got to go to meetings. You got to get a sponsor. Call your sponsor. And follow directions properly.
Meetings don't work.
How you know meetings don't work? I go to meetings and it's worked so far.
I haven't found one that works. So what are you going to do then?
Find another meeting.
You go to another meeting. You're going. I didn't say go to a meeting. I said go to meetings. Meetings.
Plural.
Yes. Multiple meetings, multiple days of the week, and that find when it comes to finding a home group, find one that's best fits for you. Once again, one size doesn't fit all. That one meeting works for every individual. Find you the meetings to go to. Build an accountability team. To me, even as important as your sponsor is having your accountability team. You got to have people you can call and talk to about certain things.
Kind of like a Fab Five.
Yeah, that's the word.
5, 6,
Yeah.
7.
Fab
3.
Yeah.
Is this Michigan?
What?
Fab Five.
Fab Five. That's what they say. That's one of the things that we teach is you build a Fab Five. You have 5 people, 5 numbers you can call at any time if you need so. And that's a big... It's good?
Yeah.
Nothing but net.
It was a basketball, they called them the Fab Five as well. So what else do you need though?
I think it's... I was talking to...
I don't like the Fab Five.
I was talking to a client the other day. Sorry, I was trying to get my thing going. And he said, I said, who's your primary care? You need to go see your primary care. And he's like, well, I just saw him before I came in. I said, so he knows exactly how much you were drinking? Well, no. Oh, so you've never been honest with your doctor. Because when the doctor says, how many alcoholic beverages do you drink a day or a week? And you're saying, 4 or 6, and you're talking about 4 or 6 cases, yeah, and not 4 or 6 beers, then that changes everything. So I think getting a full panel, especially, it doesn't matter if you're getting sober on the streets or getting sober out of a rehab facility. I think it's so important to go back to your doctor and start getting those medications right if you're on medications.
Yes. Also, psychiatrists, when we talk about medications, make sure you go to the right doctors for the right medications. And that your primary care can take care of a lot of the runny nose and stuff like that. But when it comes to like your mental health stuff, go see a psychiatrist.
Yes.
And that's one of the things we encouraged a lot to our clients is, hey, do you have an appointment set up with your psychiatrist? If not, here's one that I recommend highly. And can we give him a shout out?
Yeah, I don't care. He's a wonderful dude.
Yes, Dr. James Andrew Adams. I love the guy. I've worked great with him, and that's what I always send people to. Go give this guy a call.
Yeah, right here in St. Peter's. If you don't have a psychiatrist, call him.
Yes.
A lot of us use them. We send him a lot of referrals. Matter of fact, our mailboxes should be full with referral fees, but that don't ever happen, right? It can't.
Finding fees.
Right.
We should be getting paid for this.
But even their whole office is really set up well, full of psychiatrists, psychologists. And so I agree, though, going to primary care and getting honest is a huge, huge help to prevention. Psychiatrists are a huge help to prevention. I like setting goals.
Yes, goals. Reasonable goals.
Yes.
Not climbing the top of Mount Everest type goals, but reasonable goals.
It's okay to have those Mount Everest goals, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need that Mount Everest goal, but it's having the smaller goals to achieve before.
Right.
But how do you get to your goals, Shane?
Your goal?
I draw a roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything. Okay, so for me, everything is written. Mm-hmm. If it's not written, it's not happening. So, of course, one of our sponsors, as soon as the guy gets back, will be a company that will help us with journaling and help us with writing these things out. So everything gets written for me. I write out when the deadlines are and what has to happen. And as those things happen, those are my little goals, my SMART goals to move me forward. The problem for a lot of us is we try to come out and do 10 things. Mm-hmm. I'm going to change all this. And then we fail at one of them, so everything goes. Mm-hmm. So let's keep it small. Keep it simple, stupid.
There you go. But yeah, back to the Mount Everest goals. Yeah, it's safe to have, but what about all the goals you got to build up so you can actually climb Mount Everest? And that's another thing to look into is making them smaller goals to build up to that larger goal.
Yeah, and Shane's the one that's helped me through this when I first got sober. He's like, oh, you have a goal to stay sober for 6 months. Well, that's great. That's a great goal. But how are you going to get there? You have to have the plan in place. And that's what the relapse prevention plan is. It's I'm going to go to these meetings. I'm going to, if I get triggered, what are my triggers? What are the people, places, things, or the emotions that I have that are going to trigger me to want to go back and use? And identifying those and then being able to have an out plan on everything, I think is key.
And that's the problem, is a lot of people won't have that. We know holidays suck, right? Mm-hmm. Because families are so dysfunctional, but yet we think we owe it to our family to go there while they're still using. No matter what it is, whether they're drinking or smoking or whatever. These people are brand new in recovery. And they're like, well, I'm the problem all the time, so I have to go there and I can't ask them not to drink. I'm like, not only can you ask them not to drink, you could not show up if they're going to drink.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to go.
They don't have to change their life for me.
No, they don't. But you have to change and set boundaries.
Yep.
You just don't go. Me and Christina still do not go to family members that they're going to drink. Period. Now, let's say we are going to go visit a friend at a bar. There's a few of us going. We're going to go in there. We're going to be there, 30 minutes? And we're going to roll out. They're going to do what they're going to do. We said happy birthday or, happy anniversary, and we leave. So we can make that decision if we want. But our family should respect us enough not to drink. Mm-hmm. So we don't go. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of years later. And it's still fun to do.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think the plan is huge to have. I think an out plan is always good to have. But then we have high risk. To me, we have regular risk and we have high risk. So we have our triggers that are just common everyday things, but then we find ourselves in high risk situations sometimes. How do we navigate that? That plan has to kind of set almost everything up.
Yeah.
So
I think it's identifying what that high risk situation is and making sure preventing from even putting yourself in that situation. For me, it was no gas station. I couldn't go into the gas station because I can walk into any gas station when we got a half a dozen of them right around here. I could walk in anyone and literally right by the door are the 99-cent shots. And then over to my right, I got all the beer that I could possibly want. And it's so easy for me to walk in there when I first got sober and just, here. I mean, the lady at the gas station even knew what I drank. And it's like when I first got sober and I came back for the first time, she said, I haven't seen you in a while, and literally reached behind to grab the vodka and put it on the counter.
Almost like Cheers, huh?
Yeah.
So I only had to quit going to QTs because that's where, the end, my last year of drinking was done all at a QT. So I only had to quit going to QTs because the first day I got sober, I walked into QT whenever I got out, and I brought all the 2x4s up to the counter. And I'm going to pay, and I'm like, I don't drink anymore. And I said, let me go put this up. They're like, no, we'll take care of that then if you don't drink. And I never went back to QT until I think 3 years later.
Yeah.
Also, the routes that we take with that also, when you're driving a certain way, because I never really thought about it. Somebody brought it up the other day at work, and they were talking about, no, you shouldn't have to go a different route. You should be man enough to be able to go down that same path and know that you can handle the situation. And I'm like, you know what? 4.5 years into my recovery, I had to drive down a road, and it was on the path to where I was going to get, where I was using that, and I was headed to work, and it almost set me off going to work, having to drive down that same direction. 2 exits from Lindbergh, 2 exits. Literally, I mean, I turned 2 exits before I used to go use that, and it was, I was able to work through it, thankfully, because having a sponsor and people to talk to about it. But the first couple of times I drove that route, it was a little shaky.
Mm-hmm. And do you know why that is?
Because
Steve said it earlier.
Mindset? What?
Ritual,
yes.
It's all about that ritual. So if we can find ways to break rituals, it helps in our recovery process.
So that should be a part of the relapse prevention plan, right? Breaking all rituals?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ritual to most things that we do. There's rituals for when people get up, and what's funny is some of the fake alcohol is called ritual. So we try to teach people how to break rituals, and yet they come out with the fake alcohol or whatever you want to call it that tastes just like it. but it's called ritual.
That ain't right.
So
It won't do the same thing for me, and then I want the real thing, and then
Exactly.
Yes.
yeah.
and so part of our recovery is just breaking rituals. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
We teach that a lot in sex addiction.
And the relapse prevention questionnaire thing I shared with my groups, and one of the questions was, can you stay sober if you're still doing the same ritual activities that you were doing while you were using? No.
Most likely not.
It's just
Maybe-
not.
maybe for a short time.
What did you?
Okay, so here's the is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Will you stay sober if you're still practicing the rituals that you were doing while you were using? Is it possible to stay sober? I said no. And I shared with everybody exactly why I felt no. Because every ritual I ever did to do anything with me using was me leading me right back to use it.
Yeah, most likely if they haven't changed anything, then they're not going to quit using.
The problem was I drank all the time, and anything I did, whether it was mowing the grass, driving the car, like everything I did involved alcohol. So
Right, but that got past rituals. That just
yeah, I guess. But that's why I was.
there
asking-
was
that's
a
why I wanted to ask the
ritual
question.
to it at one time.
Yeah.
You know, like when you were first trying to hide it or first trying to do whatever and falling in love with it and petting it and craving it and doing those things, you had a ritual to it. Sometimes we get way past a ritual, and it just becomes an all day, every day.
So you said a word that I wanted to hit on: craving.
Yep.
How important is it to have a plan or know what your cravings are and what to do? To me, I think that's one of the most important parts, especially in early recovery, for those who get those cravings. Like they're like, oh, I'm really craving bad today. How do you get over this? Like, what do you do? Do you still have cravings 5 years later? I mean,
Not as much as I have over the years, but yes, they still happen. They definitely do happen. I'm not going to lie about that. Usually when I've been able to work with them, these cravings, manage these cravings by talking to my wife about it. But if it does go too far, I know I have a set of people I can call and discuss it with them. And then I remember just a few years back, I drove to work, opposite direction of anywhere I ever drove before, was headed to work, and it was just like, dude, I need to use today. I got to use. I even left work because I wanted to use that bad. First thing I did was get in the car, leave. Before I even called my boss and told him I was leaving, I called my sponsor.
Wise thing to do.
And then my pastor showed up to the house, talked to me for a minute before he left. I think he dropped his dog off. I don't know. But I got to talk to him about it and stuff. And it was just like, dude, But I was able to share it with a couple individuals. And that's one of the things. We got to reach out for help a lot of times to manage these cravings that we're dealing with. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, and that's one of the places where that accountability team comes in, because the sponsor doesn't always answer. And
You're not kidding.
Especially at the set time you're supposed to call me.
Yeah, if you're only calling at a set time, you ain't getting a hold of nobody.
yeah, but I mean, it's the having that other person to call. I mean, I even have friends. I have one of my friends who's not even in recovery, who's on my list of accountability, just because we've been friends for so long and he knows everything I've been through. And and sometimes even just making that phone call or that text, they don't even have to answer, but just, sending that text, you can work it through in your head by just doing that action that says, what am I thinking?
Well, what we tell people is if I don't answer, leave a message. If you still need me afterwards, either hit 911 or, call a couple times right in a row, and then we'll answer.
I know how to get a hold of you.
But a lot of times, by the time we leave the message, we talked ourselves out of it because it was pretty stupid.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I never do anything stupid.
Yes, we know.
so it's normal to have cravings, would you say?
Yes.
Always normal.
Okay. What's the difference between a craving and an urge?
So a craving, you want to...
Well, I would say to me, a craving is just the thought of, the feeling of wanting to use, as the urge is like something actually pushing you to want to use.
It's like an impulse
Yes.
impulsivity to satisfy that need,
Yes.
that want. Yeah.
That's my personal thought. What were you going to say?
So cravings are happening because of period of use, being addicted to it. So to me, those two would be reversed.
Okay.
When I get an urge to do something, it's because I've already thought through it. I'm the one that's thinking about those things. Now I got that urge. The other is, I mean, we've sat in our active addiction for how many years? So we're going to have cravings to something because we've had that for so long. So
Okay.
I just flipped those two. Right, wrong, indifferent, it don't matter. I like being wrong. But in my brain, I'll tell you, that's how it sits.
Yeah. I was never a drug user. But
Sure you were.
Well, okay. Alcohol, right.
Yeah.
Not the stuff where I had to actually go to somebody and actually buy it.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
you did. You went to.
You didn't make it at home.
Oh my
See, he's
God.
good.
Yeah, I did actually. I
Yeah.
actually did.
So illegally, you made it at home.
Amy made me get rid of my still. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah.
But you still had to go to your drug dealer to get it.
Yeah.
We just made that legal. Now they made everything else legal. So it's okay.
Damn you, Aldi's. $3 Chuck, man. Come on. No. So to me, it's okay to have the thought. Like, oh man, like if I'm mowing the grass, like I was the other day, man, a beer. You smell that barbecue for the first time. It's like, man, a beer smells good. But then I have to do what? I have to play that tape through, because if I have to act on that impulse or that urge or that craving, then it's all over. You know, and so I think it's okay to acknowledge. I think what we want people to understand is it's okay to have a craving. It's okay to have a thought, but don't act on that thought. Get yourself out of that mindset as soon as possible. But acknowledge the thought. Acknowledge that it's there.
Yes.
You know, don't try to push it away. Oh my gosh, I'm craving so much. Because I think when you do that, the cycle continues. And you obsess over it, and the next thing you know,
You're doing it.
yeah,
It happens all the time. But let's go over to sexual addiction, because that's an easy one to tie in
Yeah.
to that process. You'll see a good-looking person of whatever you find attractive, and you see that person going on the street, and you're like, oh, I can't look, I can't look, I can't look. So what are you going to do? You're going to stare the whole time. You're going to keep looking. And so it's the same way with the drinking. If you won't stop thinking about it and saying, I can't think about it, you're going to keep thinking about it, and eventually you're going to use. So, yeah, just embrace it. It's okay that it happened. Take one look and then be about your business.
36, 24, 36. Only if she's 5'3".
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Baby girl back.
How about some tips to manage these cravings, right? Mental urges that we have. You got anything? Some tips for those people out there?
Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at you. You're the only person across from me.
No, actually, he is too.
Yeah, I've
He's
got
over there.
I've got my back to you watching.
What do you got, Steve? We haven't heard from you in a while.
I just kind of pulled up a verse, and I was just, the conversation was going. It's James 1:13. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person tempted when they are dragged away from their own evil desires and enticed. Dragged away by their own evil desires and enticed. Then after desire is conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death.
So we just place desire with urges and cravings.
Yeah, I just did. I think that's
Oh,
how
no,
I
it's,
kind of look. I
it's
think
still a
that's-
desire.
It's a desire.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it
For those
spells
of
it
us
out
just
pretty
joining
decently
us.
where we're going to end up if we keep following those roads and those thoughts.
Yeah, those desires will win.
I didn't steal a verse y'all had like written down.
I don't think you could steal from the Bible. But
No, I'm talking about you. I didn't
stole
steal
that verse from you guys.
I didn't steal a verse that you were planning to
Was it
use
already?
earlier.
No, that's great.
It's a new translation.
What about waiting out your urge or your craving?
How long should you wait?
15 to 30 minutes, hour? I don't know.
Hour? That's a long time.
It's a long time, but if I wait out an hour, I'm not going to go up and do whatever it is I wanted to do an hour ago. I myself.
I don't know.
I'm just going to throw this in here. Someone that deals with more of a sexual addiction end of it. You're not going to outwait it. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit on that for days. It's not gonna. It's gonna go. It's not gonna go away from me.
Okay.
Okay.
So call somebody. Call Tyrone. You got to call somebody when that urge happens.
Yes.
I'm not calling time.
You're not using my phone.
Yeah, it's
I couldn't help it. Don't look at me.
Poor guy. Distractions.
We went from baby,
baby got back.
It just kept going downhill from there. It just kept traveling and traveling and traveling.
Let's get back on track.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about the distractions? Distractions.
What about them?
Does that help?
Yeah, a lot of well, it depends if your distraction is a coping mechanism or a coping skill.
What's the difference?
The coping mechanism is what you're doing to deal with whatever situation that's giving you the urge or craving to deal with. As a coping skill is more of a
Positive behavior.
there it is.
There you go.
That's what I'm looking for.
Positive
I
behavior
can jump in to
versus
play video games, but if I'm only playing the video games to take place of the urge, I feel is negative, as opposed to if I'm playing video games to enjoy my time with others and that, so I have a more positive outlook on things. That would be the coping skill. That makes sense?
If I'm using it to isolate, if I'm using that video game to do something like that, yeah.
Cool.
If I'm just killing just to kill, it's all right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the distractions I always get, and it's a really good one. Pray on it. And the other piece of advice I always get all the time: if you put yourself into the Word lately, distract yourself in the Word. I mean, it's not a cure-all, fix-all, but man, it really has helped me through some really tough times.
The word's not a one-size-fits-all book.
It is.
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, it is an end-all, but I mean, it doesn't always stop that where you're going.
No,
with that
because
thought.
we don't allow it to.
Yeah,
but if you
but-
get into the Word, it changes your mind. It changes your thinking about whatever negative pattern that is. So get into the Word. It'll work every time.
Might want to stay out of Lamentations.
Might want to.
No lamenting.
Yeah, Job may not be the best place to go.
Well, no, Job could actually be a really good
Job's
book.
actually a really good book.
Yeah, make me feel better about myself.
Yeah. I had a sponsor that always said, if you could bend this coin, you could take a drink. And so I'd be like in my pocket trying to bend that coin, distracting myself.
See,
There you go.
You put it in a vice and you hit it first, then you go, and you can bend it in front of them.
That doesn't work that way. You tried that before.
Don't try that at home,
Yeah,
folks.
didn't
Please,
work.
please.
So Big Lou over at Centerpoint,
Big Lou.
that's how he would coin you out.
Yeah.
He'd say if you put this between two fingers and you could bend it, you could drink.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll bend it.
Well, at least it's not the ones from the 7 a.m. meeting, because those are really breakable.
I know they've gotten cheaper.
Yeah. What happened to those coins?
I don't know.
You could actually snap
The
that.
cost of materials.
It's gone up.
It's $3 for plastic.
I think it's important to manage those cravings and urges, staying present in the moment. I'm going to throw out one of my cliches: one day at a time.
Ooh, yeah.
Just for Shane today.
Yes,
One day
yes.
at a time.
Yeah.
How do you stay in the day?
How do I stay in the day? Whatever it is I'm doing that day, I'm present for it. Mondays I work and go home and spend time with the wife, and I stay present in everything that I do with that. Tuesdays I got a meeting and I work. Wednesdays I meeting, gym, and meeting. So it's just
So you have to put down those distractions, though, in order to be present,
yes,
right?
Yes,
I mean, if I'm going to be here with you guys, I don't want other things going on.
right.
So if I'm in a meeting, then I'm in a meeting. Mm-hmm. And I have to put away stuff. If I'm at it, and I just meant at work for a meeting, but if I'm in a meeting, keep your butt in a chair, pay attention to what people are saying, put your phone away, quit getting up and going around. I mean, just be present.
Yeah. My favorite line to a lot of people I work with is shut up and sit down. Mm-hmm. That's all you got to do. You ain't even got to talk at a meeting. Just shut up and sit down. Mm-hmm. And more than likely, you're going to hear something in one of those meetings that you really need to hear.
If you got 1 foot in yesterday, 1 foot in tomorrow,
You're gonna pee on today.
yes, you're going to be tinkling on today. Tinkle.
Tinkle.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has gone there.
Tinkle, tinkle, little.
All right.
No, it's staying, excuse me. Staying present, I believe, is a part of it, using grounding techniques to stay present. Whenever you start to go, your mind starts to go in a million different directions. If I'm thinking about tomorrow, if I'm getting the urge to drink, it's what do I have to do to make myself present in this moment? So, do you have any grounding techniques, Shane or Derek or Steve?
Besides sticking my finger in a light socket.
You can do that.
Yeah, I journal my butt off.
That's one reason I go to the gym in the first thing in the morning. It helps me focus throughout the rest of the day what I got to do. If I can focus at the gym and work out certain not just play around at the gym, but I focus on that particular muscle that particular day. It helps me build my mental focus on everything that I got going on for the rest of the day. So that's what I do.
I think one of the things that really helps sometimes is like just going out and playing some pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball.
Disc golf.
That's where it's at. Pickleball and disc golf. It don't matter. Both. Let's do it.
Have you played pickleball yet?
No.
Did you see the pickleball court at work?
We have a pickleball.
Right in front of the barn.
Hey, look, man.
They did.
It's the happening sport.
Yeah.
One of our,
I don't even want
our
to see
clients
it.
actually bought a pickleball set, and they've been having pickleball tournaments at night and stuff. They've been talking about.
Dude, it's a fun little thing to play.
No, I think it's
Tuesday nights, come on up.
It's great.
Where?
We'll whoop you. Come on up. At the pickleball place right up the street. We got a whole indoor court. So,
In the Meadows?
yeah.
Okay.
I got another one here to throw in here. And when you take away a behavior, you need to replace it with something. Matthew 12:43. When an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through an arid place seeking rest, and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept, clean, and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of the person is worse than the first. That is how it will be with this wicked generation.
What translation was that?
NIV.
That was
Stevie V.
long.
I got this.
Zawith.
What did I get off?
The Zena Moody.
It's
I'm an NIV. I'm an NIV guy.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, we
I'm that cult of the NIV, not the
What did we bring? We brought that up once
ESV
before.
or whatever.
That same scripture up for another subject we were talking about too. If I remember an earlier podcast. If you want to know what it was, look it up for us. Let me know.
yeah, it's
Be sure to give us a like and subscribe.
Yes.
it works out well because he does go get 7 homies and brings them back,
Yes, he
and they have a house party.
Yes.
And how true is that in addiction? Once if you don't fill it back and it starts coming back, it's coming back 7-fold on you.
It's working the steps.
Yes.
You got to replace the character defect. So yeah, it's it works for most things in our life. That's the great thing about Scripture.
Right.
It just happens to work for it all.
I could give you the King James version if you want.
Oh yeah,
No,
Joe.
we're good. Keep on
We'll hit mute.
As we keep going along here. How about some prevention skills? Right. Know your potential risk. Anxiety, tension, and low self-esteem are internal risk of potential relapse, while people, places, and other things bring an unpleasant memories are example of external triggers. An effective technique to become aware of one's risk and lower the chances of relapse is to list these internal and external causes. Back to writing it out. Journal about it. I do this subject all the time, no matter if I'm in one area or I'm working the other area. Recognize your triggers. Recognize those things. Write them out. Write out how you're going to manage those triggers. And then I encourage everybody that I talk to do so.
Write it out. Write it out. I like
Write
that.
it out. Yeah. When you write it out, it becomes real. You can actually recognize what it is. Oh, well, boom.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree.
I think next time on add it, and every time you see that happen in your life, put a check next to it so you actually realize how many times you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So you can learn to manage it whatever you feel, more fit. You look like you had something to say there.
No, I don't have anything.
Right.
It's probably just
He's
gas.
perplexed.
Self-care. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think we've.
Yeah. We still got to bring it up. Hey, you know
water.
what? Somebody just got on the podcast just now. So, yeah.
Self-care. Practice self-care.
Practice self-care.
Soap, water.
Well, sleep well, plenty of water.
Exercise. Read a book.
We do not drink enough water. We don't.
I know. I do. I drink like half a gallon.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I drink plenty.
Yeah. Carbonated. Mountain Dew.
It don't matter.
Halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Don't
Yeah,
ever let
we
yourself
discussed
get
that earlier.
far. Yep. Recognize that. Meditation.
Mindfulness meditation.
Mindfulness. Yeah.
Mindfulness meditation. How is mindfulness meditation any different than meditation?
Because it depends on what you're meditating on. You're being mindful of what you're meditating on. Like when we read the scripture and we meditate on that word, and we're mindful of that, it's
if I'm meditating, I'm being mindful.
No, I don't think all meditation's mindfulness. Because when you're sitting there talking about
Well, I don't do.
I'm just saying.
But there is some meditation is about dumping, and some meditation is about receiving.
Right.
So it just depends what you're gonna do.
Okay.
I guess you have to be mindful of the dumping and the receiving. Depends on what it is you're doing, right?
Yeah. But and I know we covered a lot of mindfulness stuff in the past in a couple of different episodes. I mean, it works.
Look them up.
Do you have any? No, don't tell people to look them up. You got any on you or not?
What?
I mean, I could put them in the show notes. Mindfulness.
I can't remember some of them.
All right. No, I'll put them in the show notes. I'll just put
we got
a list for people so that way they could have resources.
All right.
Because it's important that they have. What else?
Join a support group. AA, Celebrate Recovery.
I don't need no support group. I'm going to do this on my own.
Yeah, I've said that plenty of times and failed every time.
I'll give you.
I got this. I'm sure
Tell me how that works for you.
Yeah.
Write a book about it. Come back and teach the class.
That's my line. You know, please go out and write a book, and please come back and tell us all about it. You're going to make millions of dollars.
Million.
What were you going to say, Steve?
Oh, just tell me how that works for you.
No, it doesn't.
My favorite recovery quote.
Yeah.
If it fits every situation. Tell me how that works for you.
There's probably a group out there for just about every situation you're dealing with. You know, if it's sexual addiction, overeating, anonymous. You know, there's a group for it.
I have a slideshow with them on there.
Do you really?
It is ridiculous. Yes.
It'll be in the show notes.
No, I'm not putting all those in the show notes. But you could Google that one on your own.
Okay.
That was a lot to make. So if you want something that you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Yeah.
Yes.
Take your butt to a meeting. Sit down, shut up, and get a sponsor. Work some steps.
Yeah, I just love that. Sit down and shut up.
Yeah. It works well.
That's all you got to do.
Hey Shane, I got a question for you real quick. Let's say that someone out here is listening that's thinking about getting some help and dealing with some issues. How do they find a meeting? What's a good way to find a meeting? I mean, how many are there meetings all over the place?
In the St. Charles area.
Over 1,000
Yes.
But how do I find them?
a week.
There's an app.
That's just AA meetings. Over 1,000 AA meetings a week.
Yeah.
There's a
I
blue
think
chair
NA
app.
has 300 in the St. Charles area, I think 344 something.
Yeah.
I don't know after COVID, but
AA.org, NA.org, celebraterecovery.com.
Yeah. And there's apps for the phone for just about every one of those, too.
I know. That's just it. You can literally search it on your phone, and you're going to find a meeting guide. Yeah.
There's no reason you're not going to a meeting.
Yeah.
Except for the fact you got this.
Yeah. I'm never drinking again.
For those of y'all listening, it was finger quotes. Got this.
yeah, you can.
Meeting guides is what I use.
Yeah, meeting guide. There's so many different ways. If you just use the Google machine,
Yes.
you'll find it.
Yes.
I don't have to be smart. I just know how to type in the word Google.
There you go.
You don't even have to know that. You'll
Yeah.
figure it out somehow just by hitting buttons on accident.
So we talked about grounding techniques, deep breathing,
That's to me is more like
box breathing.
I don't know the box breathing.
What?
What's box breathing?
Breathe in, hold for 4 seconds. 1.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't
Hold
know it
for
was called
4,
box.
out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4. Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Almost sounds like a form of meditation.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a form of someone hyperventilating.
That too.
It's not.
They will soon be hyperventilating.
Make an emergency contact list. I think that goes with saying your Fab 5.
Yes.
Whatever Shane doesn't like Fab 5.
Your
Accountability.
Your
accountability
12.
partner.
How about your 12?
Yeah. You're
Yeah, throw the 5 out the window. What are those 5 going to do?
Jesus walked with 12. Why can't we, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because 12 people won't like us.
That's what I was going to say.
So we might get lucky to find 2.
Half the people that like me are in this room, so that's all right.
No, I think more like 75.
It's true.
Yeah, it's hard to find some people sometimes.
Yeah. Play the tape through.
Yes.
Play the tape through. Do you want to go back and start all over again?
You remember where it took you the last
Yes.
time, and just as they shared in the scripture, so you didn't fix it from the last time. Here comes 7 more up in there, so it's even going to be worse. Think about that as you play the tape through. That it's even going to be worse than what it was to begin with.
This one guy says all the time, if you stop doing the things that got you here, you'll go back to the things that brought you here.
Yes.
Sounds like a wise quote.
I think I've heard that before.
Yeah.
He must have been a bearded guy. All wise guys are bearded.
This is true.
At least wise
And then
butts.
there's Derek. Yes, yeah.
I think in my testimonies, I quote that to the bearded guru.
There you go.
And then don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
We're crying out loud.
And for those of y'all watching, you can see that we're not some, punks from the block. We we've all been. I'm talking about
Talk in your microphone.
weak. Yeah. You know what?
Shot collar.
As we're talking
turntables
about
in the
this right
microphone.
now,
I'm going to put
I'll
Sasha
just
shot
say,
collar next
you look at us and you can see that we're not, any kind of, say, quote, sissy type individuals, and we've all asked for help.
Yes.
It's okay to do so.
You got to let go of that. It goes back to that pride thing.
Yes.
Let go of the
It
pride.
doesn't make you look weak because you asked for help.
So here's one thing I like them to do. I like them to snitch on themselves, having a family meeting. So for me, part of discharge planning or even relapse prevention is what do you do when you're getting ready to relapse? How do you hide the things up front? And so families start having conversations with each other and getting together and developing a list that goes out to an accountability team. So my people that struggle with mental health, we will list out all those things that are really coping mechanisms for them, maybe spending, so behaviors that they would see. And then if there's three behaviors at once, we all get an email and they have to go see me, they have to go see their doctor. And so there's always a plan in place, even for people in recovery that's not struggling with mental health, of here's how I hid things, here's what it looks like when I'm getting ready to use, here's what it looks like when I am using, so that way you could call me out on it. And so it's a fun way to have the addict snitch on themselves. And if you do it early enough, they will snitch on themselves because they haven't thought about the relapse yet. Mm-hmm. So
anything else? I don't know. What are we?
You have my absolute favorite Bible verse.
10:13.
It's right here. It's tattooed on my arm.
Read it to us.
No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but when you are tempted, he will always provide a way out so that you can endure it.
Yes.
That's a really good verse. I actually have a sweatshirt with that on the back of it.
No, he
Hey,
doesn't.
where's that at, Derek?
Anyway, so 1 Peter 5:8 says, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." Cravings, urges, those things will come at us. Be more prepared. Have your relapse prevention plan together, and be able to get through all these different things.
yeah, work your recovery, man. Go celebrate those milestones.
Amen.
Yes.
We love celebrating them with you, so celebrate them.
Yes.
Find hope.
Hey, if you have a story that you want to celebrate with us, or you want us to celebrate with you, comment, leave a message. We'd love to hear from you guys. We're on every podcast platform, YouTube, even video on Apple. Get with us. We'd love to talk with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Talk to you next week.
Hey, God bless. See ya.
Have a good week.